Welcome back to the president of Counterpoint Institute for Policy, Research, and Education, Dr. Shay Bradley Farrell. Dr. Farrell, it's really great to have you back. There's a big pushback in government against TikTok use, and Joe Biden allowed a Chinese spy balloon to cross the entire country before shooting it down. What should America's posture be towards the nation of China in regards to our sovereignty and security?
Tim, it's got to be a whole lot more aggressive than it has been under the Biden administration, because the Chinese are not just collecting data through these spy balloons or through TikTok, but they have systems that are infiltrating our government at the state, at the local, and at the federal level. And to compound that, our chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, who is the one that disregarded Biden's order to shoot down that balloon on Wednesday, also told his Chinese counterpart during the Trump administration that he would let the Chinese know if the U.S. decided to take aggressive action against the Chinese. General Milley is a traitor and should be court-martialed.
Okay, let's go to the border real quickly. The House Oversight Committee will hear from CHP chiefs today. Now, DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas tried to block their appearance. What does he fear they might say under oath?
All kinds of things that his administration has been trying to suppress, that Counterpoint Institute has been working on down at the border, such as the fact that we have record numbers or amounts of fentanyl that are coming across our borders, record number of deaths in the U.S. from fentanyl last year in 2022 and 2021. It is the #1 killer, ages 18 to 45 of people in the United States. And something you probably haven't heard a whole lot about is we also have record numbers of illegal immigrants who are dying crossing the border. That is something Biden administration had the CBP suppress on purpose, but organizations like mine have been down on the ground collecting that information from the local counties and law enforcement, and they're dying because they have to collaborate with the Mexican cartels to come across. So law enforcement's finding them dehydrated, shot, raped, murdered by the cartels because they have, in the words of a Border Patrol agent to me, they have no regard for human life.
Yeah, and you're not likely to hear President Biden talk about that tonight either. All right, he has also upped his U.S. commitment to Ukraine, now sending tanks and Patriot missiles there, and rumors of fighter jets that continue to pop up. What is your perspective of these costly commitments when our own nation is facing economic and military issues?
Well, you're right, Tim. They are financially costly to us. But what I'm even more concerned about is the cost of us walking ourselves up to a broader world conflict, possibly nuclear conflict. And I'd like to remind you that in April, it was President Biden that said he will not send tanks to Ukraine because it would cause World War III. So I ask you, what does this mean now that he's decided to send 30-something M1 Abrams tanks to Ukraine?
Yeah. You know, Joe Biden was supposed to be a whiz at foreign policy. How would you assess his performance so far?
Sorry. Well, let's go back to his first major event, Afghanistan. It's unbelievable what we did. We left our allies there to be murdered when people were depending on us. We left Americans there to be murdered. We left billions of dollars of equipment to the Taliban, which our enemies are using to collect data on us. So I think you can sum it up right there. His foreign policy is not about deterrence, and bad actors around the world, like Iran and China and Russia, they need to know that we will deter bad behavior.
One thing the Counterpoint Institute tracks is the dangers of socialism, communism, and progressivism. What about conservatism? How is the health of the conservative movement worldwide?
Well, you know, Tim, I'm very optimistic about that. I spoke at the first CPAC in Europe last year, CPAC Hungary, and I'll be doing it again this year. And it was a place where conservatives from all over the world who believe in promoting God and family and homeland came to talk and network and support each other and learn from each other. And I think we really need to do that. Americans need to know what's going on internationally. Let me give you one example of that. We had the Obama administration pushing forward these LGBT programs in our country, in our schools, when I first came to D.C. Well, the EU was doing that years before Obama did. And these kind of things infiltrate into our country through the United Nations and other organizations like the World Health Organization, which is a big abortion pusher. We as Americans have to know what's going on so that we can stand against them, not fund the organizations that are responsible for this, and we can take care of our own American society and security.
How can we find out more about the Counterpoint Institute and what you guys are doing?
Well, please go to counterpointinstitute.org, subscribe for our newsletter, follow us on social media. If you're led to, support us, because we have boots on the ground down at the border and in places like Ukrainian refugee centers in Hungary.
Dr. Shea Bradley Farrell, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Tim.